So you're thinking about coming to Queen's University, are you? That's terrific. As one who spent 4 years there as a student in the early 1970s, I can tell you it's a terrific place to go to school. I'm Peter Watts, and for the next few minutes, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about this decision you're trying to make. Queen Victoria granted a royal charter establishing Queen's in Kingston in 1841. Summerhill became the first building on what is now the main campus about a decade later. In the century and a half that followed, the university grew from a handful of students to more than 10,000, from a single building to more than 30, from one campus to two, and from its Anglo-Saxon origins to an international community of students from all parts of the world.
After I introduce you to neurons,
when you come to Queen's, you make a decision that academics are important to you. You must be prepared to meet the challenge in the classroom. Whatever your interests, science, engineering, medicine, law, business, the arts, you'll find the curriculum challenging, interesting, and eye-opening. The knowledge you acquire here must stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. Having said that, there are some other factors to consider as well. Your years in university are some of the most important in your life. The friends you meet here, you often keep forever. The skills you acquire are the framework for your professional career. And a wide range of recreational and competitive opportunities in sports, clubs, and the arts provide a release from the day-to-day challenge of academics. One of those outlets, of course, is football. It's been a fall tradition at Queen's since 1882. It has produced many outstanding players for the pros, the most recent of which are Mike Shadd, an offensive lineman for the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles, and Jock Climie, an exciting wide receiver who's on the doorstep of a great CFL career. Football at Queen's offers a chance to play in the challenging Ontario-Quebec Conference, against Carleton and Ottawa, against Bishops and Concordia and arch-rival McGill. It offers a chance to play at the Sky Dome in Toronto for the top prize in Canadian university football, the Vanier Cup. It's a prize Queen's has won twice, in 1968 and again in 1978. It is a prize for which the Gaels are competitive every year. The decision you're wrestling with now is a decision faced by hundreds of other young men over the years. Perhaps a few examples from the current roster of the Gaels are in order.
Taking your pulse, if you were going to be taking a pulse, how long would you take to take the pulse?
10 seconds.
Meet Jeff Yaw. He's taking a course in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, part of his coursework in the Faculty of Medicine. Yaw carries about as tough a workload as it's possible to have as an undergraduate. He also plays football.
Most of my days are pretty much filled with classes. I have between 25 and 30 hours a week. And so basically, until about 3:30 or so, I'm in classes from 8:30 in the morning. And then I'm usually out at the stadium about 4:30, get home about 9 or so, a few hours for homework, and then it's get some sleep for tomorrow kind of thing.
What's the most important attribute that you have to be able to do a medical program and play football?
For one thing, I think you really have to enjoy what you're doing. It takes an awful lot of time and a lot of energy, and if you're not enjoying it, you're wasting an awful lot of time, and I don't think you're able to maintain your focus if you don't really enjoy what you're doing. But you really have to be able to organize yourself and allot your time, don't waste any, and make the most of the time you're spending doing things. Like, you could spend 5 hours a night doing homework and not get as much done as spending 2 hours and concentrating on what you're doing and focusing, and that way you get more done.
Another example is Courtney Trelevin. He's an engineering student from Ottawa. Like many of the Gaels, an ex-Queensman who's now a high school teacher turned Trelevin on to coming here.
I came down and saw Doug Hargraves that year, and I was really impressed with what I saw here. You know, it's a gorgeous campus, and the things Doug had said to me about the philosophy here regarding the balance of academics and athletics, and as everybody knows, Queen's is a great school for academics, and the engineering school is well known. So I think after I'd come down and seen Doug and seen the campus and talked to him, I knew I was going to be coming to Queen's. There's no doubt in my mind.
You have to want to do both, and you have to do the academics.
That's absolutely it. I mean, you're not going to be in school to play football if you don't have the academics, and a lot of schools have problems with kids who go to school just to play football because it won't work. You won't be in school anymore.
Ragged hobos tramping about, filling
Keith
their
Boyd's
sacks
view of
with
Queens is
handouts.
slightly different. He did his
Whistling
undergraduate
winds
work at
blowing
Wilfrid
through the
Laurier
trees.
University in
Sunny
Waterloo,
fields
Ontario,
blazing.
before coming to Queen's MacArthur
Jet
College
black
of
hats
Education
flashing.
for 1 year.
It was nice coming in here, and I came in as a fullback, and the coaches realized that that position had been sewn up. They had a guy, Doug Corbett, who had the position kind of locked up, and they didn't just give up on me. They kind of saw what I had and saw what they needed, and they moved me over to defensive end and made a rush end out of me. So, you know, it kind of helped me that way. I'm glad that they did realize I would fit in somewhere.
The point is you weren't ignored, you were fitted in.
Yeah, they didn't just say, okay, well, he's a running back, he's going to stay a running back. They said, well, he's an athlete, and we'll fit him in wherever we can find some room.
You're very good with the youngsters in the classroom, Keith. What did you learn in football that maybe helped you when you turned around and became a teacher in that kind of a setting?
I bet you I know what a lot of you. You know, you see how a coach gets your attention and stuff like that. You can see how other people communicate what they have to teach you. You know, a coach has got to teach you how to block. You know, you don't pick it up the first time. They can sense that, and they choose an alternative way to teach you the same thing. And I think, you know, that's going to be valuable as a teacher.
Mid-October, in the heart of football season, homecoming weekend, a time for graduates to come back to Queens, to renew old friendships, to make new ones, to share in the experience that is Queens. Many who come back once played for the Gales.
I played in '55, and it was a very good time to play because there were an awful lot of wonderful football players on that team, like Ronnie Stewart and Gary Schreider and Gary Lewis and Lou Bruce and many, many wonderful football players, and we were lucky enough to win the championship that year.
What position did you play?
I played a long way down the bench, Rod, as a reserve end.
Do you have a fond memory from playing with the Gales?
Just the championship, that was what it was all about, and to be a part of it was just wonderful.
And the highlight of the weekend is, of course, the football game, this year against McGill. More than 150 times these two schools have met on the field. On this day, Queens prevailed 29-0, thanks in part to 2 first-quarter touchdown receptions by Jock Climie. Even in the rain, nearly 10,000 fans turned out to watch and to cheer, and to do the oil thigh, a combination of English and Gaelic that is as much a Queens tradition as football itself. The school's football tradition is personified by Doug Hargraves. He played on the offensive line and at linebacker at Queens in the 50s. In 1975, he succeeded the legendary Frank Tyndall as head coach of the Gales.
Doug, you've been involved in this program for a lot of years, you know, a bunch of different capacities. How has your attitude towards Queens and towards the football team changed since you were first involved to the point now where you're in charge of the program?
Are we going back as far as a player?
You go back as far as you want.
I think my attitude as a player was it was a great place to come to school and play football, and now as a head coach, it's still a great place to come to school and play football. But as I've become older, I've realized that the academic part is extremely important. Too soon old, too late smart. I think that I try to advise the young people, therefore, with some words of wisdom that I didn't get when I first came. I think it's an outstanding institution. It's unique. I think it has a great environment if you're looking for a small university, relatively speaking, which is 94% residential, where the student body is very close. Certainly the source of all of that tremendous school spirit is the fact that we're residential, and where you can pursue an education without peer in Canada.
So, you have a decision to make. I hope some of our thoughts will be of some use to you as you try and make up your mind where you want to go to school next. And should you choose Queens, I hope it'll be a happy choice for you. But whatever you decide, I wish you all the best. Thanks for your time.